Hello.
Yeah. Hello, भैया.
You're on mute.
Hello, sir. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Don't call me son. Just one year senior to you.
Sure, sure. Hello, भैया. Right.
हाय। कैसा है? क्लास नहीं चल रहा है क्या? आज तो क्लास होना चाहिए ना।
सुबह होती थी क्लास, तो अभी तो लैब्स आवर में तो नहीं है.
हाँ ना। मुझे लगा क्लास करेगा। 9.62 CGPA है।
नहीं नहीं, अभी तो डीए थोड़े बहुत पेंडिंग थे, पर मैंने सोचा ये वन टाइम एक्सपीरियंस है तो लेना चाहिए.
मेरा 0% अटेंडेंस है अभी क्लास में। कितना अटेंडेंस है तेरा?
मेरा तो 75% तो है मेरा.
9 पॉइंटर है। किसका 75? मेरा 0 है इस सब सेमेस्टर।
थोड़े बहुत हो या कोर सब्जेक्ट्स हैं तो करते
हाँ,
रहते हैं
कोर्स
थोड़ा.
सब्जेक्ट से तो ठीक है करना चाहिए। मेरा तो पता नहीं, ऐसे ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट लिया हूँ सिर्फ क्रेडिट्स के लिए। और टीचर
अच्छा.
ने 2 बार कॉल भी कर लिया।
अच्छा.
अच्छा, मैं कैमरा ऑन नहीं करूँ, मेरा तबीयत खराब था सुबह से।
अच्छा. अच्छा, तो अगर आप ठीक हो तो कोई बात नहीं, कर सकते हैं, नहीं तो
नहीं नहीं,
फिर
ठीक हूँ
पोस्टपोन कर
मैं।
देंगे.
नहीं नहीं, बाद में डॉक्टर के पास जा रहा हूँ आज। अभी तो नहीं, अभी बेटर हूँ। फिर ऐसे चीजें हाथ में लगा हुआ है तो
अच्छा. अच्छा.
प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा ना।
नहीं, मैं अभी.
तो वैसे बोलता हूँ क्या होगा, मैं एक नोटपैड में तेरा रिव्यू लिखते रहूँगा। एक
ओके.
45 to 1 आवर का इंटरव्यू होगा। सब बेसिक्स होगा, इंट्रोडक्शन, फिर रेज्यूमे बेस्ड, एक तो कोडिंग क्वेश्चन और फिर थोड़ा सीरियस फंडामेंटल्स बेस्ड।
ओके.
और इसके बाद कुछ रिसोर्सेस दे दूंगा अगर लगा कि इसमें इम्प्रूव हो सकता है या कहाँ पे थोड़ा वीक है। मोस्टली वीक पॉइंट्स लिखूंगा, मैं स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट्स नहीं लिखता। सिर्फ जहाँ पे तो वीक है, जहाँ पे इम्प्रूव करना चाहिए वही लिखता हूँ। ठीक है।
ठीक.
और August 21। अच्छा, तो हर मंथ का लिखता है, रेज्यूमे निकालता है क्या?
वो मतलब जैसे थोड़ा, अगर कोई रिक्रूटर पढ़ता है तो मतलब लेटेस्ट अपडेट रहना चाहिए, मतलब ऐसे डेट वाइज
हाँ,
देखे.
वो तो ऑब्वियसली ठीक है। एक सेकंड डाउनलोड कर लेता हूँ। 2 सेकंड, एक बार नोट पैड खोलने दो। फिर स्टार्ट करें।
हम्म.
इंग्लिश में हुआ, ठीक है। अभी हिंदी में बोल रहा था बट
श्योर,
इंग्लिश में।
श्योर.
So, can you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm currently doing my BTech undergraduate from Vellore Institute of Technology, and like I'm currently in my fifth semester, and I'm pursuing computer science and engineering with specialization in Internet of Things. Currently, from the past 2 years, like I'm being fascinated about different domains of technology, and definitely the pandemic has also given me a chance to grow up in them also. So definitely, I was fascinated about different domains in web development and also in full stack development applications also. Uh, on the base of that, I have made different projects also, and definitely was more motivated to solve real time problems that were actually occurring in the society. Some of my major projects was Place Me and Nivesh, and these were actually very renowned projects, and I love working with them. Definitely, with the respect to my technical activities, I'm also very enthusiastic in data structures and algorithms, and I code mostly in C++. So currently, like I'm looking forward to help the society with the help of my skills and my technical activities also.
Okay. Why take specialization in Internet of Things?
uh, like at the time of admission, like I was getting a choice between the specialization in Internet of Things and information security. But definitely, I thought that the Internet of Things are currently more, because India is actually in its I must say in growing state. So what I actually thought that the internet era was a major change that comes in our society, and while doing from a college and while doing from college and exploring different kinds of Internet of Things, like kind of things like electronics things that can be integrated with the different kind of smart work and smart home system kind of thing. So at that particular time, I thought that this will be a good for me, and till now I am actually enjoying it and currently working in it also.
Okay. Could you tell me about this project, Place Me? It's like an online editor, right?
Right.
So, like, what does it do? How is it different from other
So
editors?
yeah, basically the main motivation of making this project was actually comes me when I was suffering from this particular era of pandemic era. Like currently, our college announced a lockdown, and we were actually all over in our home. So if I am having a particular doubt in particular code, so I will have to send the whole code file to someone through its Gmail or through Drive, or more probably I will use GitHub to see different contribution that I can make and take reviews from the seniors and ask my seniors my doubts. But what's actually the major problem is, like if I'm having a problem in small amount of code only, I need to send the whole file and whole the project, and that was actually not suitable for at that particular time, I must say. So, and also like in our hostels, when we are in our room, or when we are with our friends, so basically we enjoy peer coding. We sit together and we do make different projects, and we do peer coding basically, and we can we collaborate on different projects, and also we do data structure algorithms in the same class only. So I must say that during the pandemic time, the online shift actually made this chance to make this kind of collaborative online code reader that can help people collaborate in real time. So basically, what it actually does, it provide a collaborative code editor in the center part and also in the chat feature also. Moreover, while researching and surveying about this particular thing, I also encountered with Jitsi API, and I also integrated with that video calling feature also. So I must say it's a one-stop solution for any users or a peer group that he wants to do collaborative code editor with the help of video calling and chatting in the same window. And also it have a group feature also, so many 1 to 12 students can actually collaborate in real time in that particular editor.
Okay,
So
what's the Jitsi API?
GIST is an actually kind of an open source kind of I must say an organization that provide a integration of different kind of video calling features,
Okay,
and
video call in the
yeah
editor. Okay, got it.
yeah
And is it just for like a file or like an entire project? I can have upload an entire directory and we can have an online coding.
no actually I not it is not like that. It is like if we are currently engaging with the Google Meet, but I cannot see any code editor, or I cannot see a real time code editor that updated with real time. So
Hmm.
it's kind of thing like if you want to take interviews or virtual interviews or practice with your friends on a single or small amount of code, where you don't have to upload any files or upload any particular project also. So it will help in that way.
Can I have multiple files open at the same time? Like I am working on one file, someone else is working on another file, or is just one file and everyone can look at the changes?
It's a single code editor basic only, and the
Oh,
database actually will update it on that particular code editor only. And it's also support different kind of themes also. So that particular editor will only update it for different users that are connected to that particular connections. So
oh.
yeah.
So why do you need a database for it? Like you don't need to store the code, right? You can send it via the socket communication directly in the front end only. So you don't
Right,
need
but
to save the code
yeah.
unless you have a save feature. That's different.
Like what was my thinking? Like if any user wants to come back that particular
Ah,
particular
that's fair. Then okay. So if it's just an editor, then it's okay. You do not have need it. But if you're actually like storing the files or need to save it for some reason, then a database suits it.
yeah.
Okay. So you're interested in stock market as well.
Yeah, I was actually during the pandemic time. I also explored this kind of domain of stock market and invested in financial domain also. So we were actually the and with the help of this motivation, our group has also made a project Nivesh, and it's also listed on my resume basically.
Yeah. So can you give me a brief about it?
So yeah, Nivesh was actually more the main motivation and the situation was actually occurred to make Nivesh was like many of the students and our friends in the college only were actually getting enthusiastic and interested about the financial things, and they were most probably going in the wrong way because we actually observed that many of the students are actually following the tips and tricks that are actually circulated in the market, and they are actually not understanding it by their end, but actually they are following different seniors, and they are just following the tips and tricks, and this actually may make so short term profits, and may have a sense of feeling that we are making profits, but the students are actually not getting a sense of financial independence that they need to have. So this particular reason, this particular situation that occurred at that particular time, and our group made this project Nivesh. So Nivesh was actually more motivated to gain a financial independence to a student, and the roadmap of particular financial independence, how can actually a student can plan his things and plan his expense to have a great journey in the stock market or in finances. So Nivesh is also provided with the Grow More simulator, and simulator is kind of thing, it provided a virtual cash. And in that particular virtual cache, we actually provided a roadmap in which the user can actually first analyze the particular company with the help of the news, and that particular with the help of the visualization and the graphs, the data we are actually taking from different open source APIs only. And the
Okay.
user can actually then plan to buy a particular stock in the simulator. So in that particular moment, the user is actually not using its real money, but is actually using a virtual cash. By
Okay.
practicing in this particular simulator, the user will definitely get the instinct of how to invest in stock market and how to plan his journey. So we believe that this project will definitely help the user.
Okay. So if I have to like summarize, it's a simulation for the real trading experience.
Yeah,
Instead of your money, it's some virtual currency that you have.
yeah, definitely, because we don't want the user money at rates at particular
Yeah.
time, but we
I got
definitely
it.
want the user to first understand the basics and then goes.
And you have the live stock market data. Maybe some latency depending on the API, but it's the live stock market data.
Yeah, definitely, because we were actually using the alpha vintage API, but it was not giving a real time, but with some of the latency, as you told.
Some delay it would have obviously have, but more
Yeah.
or less real time. For practicing, it's good. Okay.
Yes.
This is
Right.
useful.
Right.
Okay. So let's go into the coding question. Do you have any editor on your laptop?
I have a Sublime editor. Shall I share my screen?
One second, I'll just share my screen first and give you the question.
Okay.
So is my OneNote visible?
Yeah. Yeah. It's visible.
Okay. So assume you're given a matrix. Okay. The matrix will either contain a one or a zero.
Okay.
And suppose I fill my matrix like this. What you have to do is for every position, you have to find the closest one to it. And you can either move top, left, right, or bottom. So these are the four directions you can move. For any position, you have to find the closest one. So if I have to answer this question, for one, the position, the distance will be zero. For this, it's either on its left or right, so it will be one. For one, again, it will be zero. For this, it's either top or bottom, so one. For this, it's either top, then left, right, or bottom, then left, so the distance becomes two.
Mm.
For this, it's just one. For this, it will be zero, this one, and this two.
Yeah.
So closest one for every zero, or all the position, not every zero.
Okay.
So you got it?
Yeah, I got it. So basically, I need to just find the closest one for every I comma j position that is present in the matrix, and what I need to actually return basically.
You will be given a matrix. You will be given a matrix, and you have to return this matrix.
Okay, the return is also a matrix, right?
Yes, 4,000 will be a matrix.
Okay, and I can move in four directions, right?
Yeah, only four.
Right. So kind of a first kind of is like if I'm traveling on this particular matrix position, so I must like I need to go to right, left, and edge cases also. Okay, so and zero is left or right or one. And if I will store this particular one and one over here, and I need to right. So if we will take this particular example only, like uh, as you told that the position on 0 comma 1 and 1 comma 0 will have a 1 on 1 as an answer because the
Yes.
closest one is 1 only.
Yes.
Like for the position 1 comma 1, we don't need to actually find a new one that is actually occurring in a original matrix. We can definitely use the previous answer of 0 comma 0. We can use the previous answer of 0 comma 1, 1 and 1 comma 0,
These
and
two, right?
yeah, these two, and we can actually find the minimum distance that are providing at that particular two positions.
Okay.
So it will have a observation that it will go first find this particular position, but like another answer can be it can be also on downside also. Uh,
Yes.
right side also. So
This.
and till now I haven't found these two positions because I am currently on 1, 1 position only, right?
Yes.
So to tackle that, I believe that if we have a double traversal, basically, like first we will traverse from left to right, like top to bottom, uh, and after that, if we go from bottom to top, so we will have a minimum answer for each position that is present in the matrix.
Okay.
Like for taking an example, if the middle zero will have a answer at 2, and after that, I will go from downside on second comma 1, it will have I will check all the four direction and the answer will be 1 only.
Yes.
And okay, so in this example, we don't need to traverse two times, but basically what I think, if there are more zero at the bottom side, so and there is might be present a one single there, right? Okay, so shall I share my screen and tell
Yeah,
you
yeah,
the
sure.
yeah? I think in that way I will be more
I'll stop
interactive in that.
presenting. Okay.
Yeah,
You got the question, right?
yeah. I hope it's visible, right?
Yes, yes.
So this is the notepad that I thought that I can use. And okay, let me take that particular question only. And like we have 101 and 0 0 and 0, and we have 1 0 and 1. So as you already told that the answer for this particular will be starting from this particular point, and we have one over here, we have one over here, and for this particular zero, I will check the all four direction, and I already know that to get the nearest number for the zero, I need to go up, to go down, and this to go left or right, right. So for this, I can easily set that it will be 2, and for this particular thing, I can easily say like I can go to left side only for this one, and for this also I can move left, right, down or up. So the minimum is 1, and these all are zeros only. But in this case, if we take an example like yeah, just a minute. If we take an example like if zero is over here, zero is over here, 1, 0, 0, and 0 and like 0, okay, and 0 and 0. So if only one is single one is only present, okay, let's take this particular position at 0. Yeah. So in that particular case, if I will start traversing from this side, uh, it will be getting maximized because I need to traverse this and then traverse this and then found this particular answer. So my loop will over here, and short over here, and then come over here. I will found 0. So it's yeah, okay. I need to get this only one, and I need to get this one and this series. This thing, what I will do this one. So it's basically like what I actually observed that I need to merge DFS traversal for every zero that is actually present, and I need to find the minimum one that is I can find.
Yes, because if you think about your earlier approach, you're just saying that minimum distance will either be from the top left, like solely top left, like top or left, or bottom right movement. But it may happen it's a combination of both.
Yeah,
It cannot be like solely top left or bottom right.
right. So I guess DFS traversal will be good in that case. So I will mark this particular matrix, point as visited, and I can store the answer over here, and I can store 4 as this. And now I need to again I have this answer, and I need to again traverse this at this one, and I have this 2 and this 3. So I guess DFS traversal will be good for this question. And right. So shall I move to coding part and
Okay, one question. For searching, suppose you need to search for a file. What kind of algorithm do we use for searching?
Sorry, search for.
We want to search for a file, okay? And just assume it's a full name search, like it will be 100% match. So what kind of algorithm do you use normally?
I guess like I didn't get the question. Like I need to search for a.
Suppose you have a directory, there's like nested everything.
Okay, file directory, right?
Yeah, so you need to search for a file in that directory. So what algorithm do you use normally?
I guess the like for a file directory, the best will be like graph. DFS reversal is only needed like we get to the depth of the every file that is actually present, and we will find that particular file.
Yeah, like is there any other possible algorithm?
Okay, with respect to that, like if we go for a level order traversal, also, I guess.
Like, okay, if you not know, I'll just tell you. Normally, in a scenario, a real world scenario, breadth first search is always preferred.
Like right, level order traversal, right?
Yeah, yeah, level order traversal.
Right.
The reason being, suppose I need to search, suppose on a Ubuntu system, I have a Linux entire file directory, and the Linux core kernel has suppose thousand of nested directories. And what I wanted to search was just in the desktop only. But instead, I used the depth first search and it started searching in the entire Linux directory because it entered that iteration. But in a breadth first search, what would happen is it will check the first level for the Linux kernel code, then it will check for the pictures, documents, desktops, and it will find it in desktops. So normally, breadth first search is more preferred.
Okay.
So in this case, if you see, you need to minimize the distance, right? So would you go for a breadth first search or a level order traversal or a depth first search?
I will start on this particular level. This particular level. I just notes. Okay. So right. Uh, hmm. So in the case of like BFS traversal, I guess this will be more optimized in that case because like as you told, I need to minimize the distance. So like, but one thing I like thought that in the case of BFS traversal, if I will start from this particular point and I will just collect this adjacent nodes. So in the first case, I will get these two nodes, and in the second traversal, I will get these two nodes. And for these
Okay.
two nodes, I will get the initially I will get the answer. So in that case, how will I actually go back? I need to think on that. Like,
I'm saying both BFS DFS works. I just suggested an alternative. If you still DFS still is the best solution, you could obviously go for it. And both of them actually work for the solution, both the traversals.
okay, so like,
So if you could try one example entirely how your approach would work.
uh, like, for okay, that is what I'm like, तो जब यहाँ से start होगा, okay, so example like 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. So for this particular thing, I will level entry. For this particular level, I will format this. So this we don't need that, and for this particular zero, for this particular zero, we need to go for up and down in that case. Right. So zero from this side, and it goes down. So So this is traverse. Okay, so if I will get answer 1 over this, and if I will start from this point, so after covering this, I can move to that particular point also. So if it I get minimum from downside, I can also supply a minimum to the upper nodes also. Right.
But again, you're also saying that it's a function of whatever you find at the right and bottom. It could happen your minimum comes from the top, right?
Right. So if it is one,
So you could think of it in another way. Like currently, you're thinking for every zero, I need to find the closest one.
right.
What if you start thinking for every one, I need to find whatever distance I can reach. Like suppose in your example, the top one can reach its right and bottom with a distance of one, and
Right.
then the entire diagonal with a distance of two. So something like that, if you think. So instead of zero to one, you think from one to zero.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. So I guess like as you just told that if I will search for 1 to 0, so for this particular one I can rightly you have said that 1 and 1 and 2 and 2, and after that if I found that after that completing this particular traversal for this particular one I can move to this particular one also,
Yes.
and in that case uh, to its adjacent if I find the minimum also, but in that case it will be kind of a DFS only. Yeah, okay, one. So it will be two, but when it will come, it will go for a while.
So you need to just update whatever the minimum value is for the return matrix. Suppose you start at the maximum value, you see it's two, but you can make it to one, so you update it to one.
When I will get two over here, so I don't need to go for this particular two once again, right? After completing this particular one traversal, I need to go to this particular point, right? Like I was
Yes.
thinking in that way,
Yeah. So suppose from the first one you have marked the left node as two, but when you start from the other one, you see you can mark it as one.
right? So
So you update it with the minimum value.
yeah, but one thing like I thought that if I update this particular point will one value, and also if it's also at an adjacent node which can also be updated, so it will be more of a kind of a DFS traversal only, right?
Yes, it could. Like DFS is a correct solution for this as well. Like in most scenarios, whatever questions you'll face, DFS BFS goes in hand only.
So like what can I basically do? I will store all the position of the original ones that are actually present in the matrix, and I will start from the basically any one, and I will traverse all its neighbors. And but how will I actually optimize the code? That's the basic question.
First, we can start with a more brute force solution, then we can think of some optimization.
Yeah. Okay.
So, so you could code up the DFS solution.
So
Just
let
a
me
function, okay? You
right.
can just take a uh, matrix as input and just a matrix as output.
Okay. And the input is a kind of string, right?
Hey, make it int. It would be easier. It's just one and zeros.
Okay. And let it be an. So like I can store the positions of the initial ones that I am having. So I can use a vector of pairs to store that. Let me just do that. I can just go with all the positions. And if it was originally a one, so I need to solve this particular matrix. And let me take the output also. Answer and answer is initially V, and I can solve this with V like the current node, and I can also allocate a visited kind of array, and this is a void D. This will be my V and current I and current change. So like it will be definitely one, so I don't need to update it, and also like let me visit it and set this and like if I use within the v dot size some of the edge conditions is less than 0, which is less than 0, I can just return it. Yeah, before that. And now I need to go for every one that I will. So like currently I'm on a single one. Like assume that I'm over here. So I need to traverse all the zeros that are actually on. Right. So if the v of I is equals to 0, that is equals to 0. Like I was currently over there. Okay. So I have this particular node and I need to traverse all the directions. Uh, if it is equals to 1 basically, so answer that will be updated. Mhm. So answer of I over J is 0, and else, else I need to go down this. So if I will go down, I need to also make counter also, right? Uh,
Yes, for the distance.
right. So if it was 1, so answer will be currently 0. I will go to right and I will go to this particular right. And also, I'm also only traversing the one only. So I can definitely initialize from this particular point only. Uh, Let me send this count the rows and count. So initially it is minus 1 minus. I will go to this right, and if it is 0, so this is v of I over j is equals to 0, or like
If it is 0, you need to update it by the distance, right?
right, but like if I will come back once again, I don't think it. Like initially, if I will start from this particular node, I can update this particular one and this also one and this also two.
Yes.
But I will when I will start from this particular point, I guess like if I will come over here, okay. So, but I need to also initialize the answer also, I guess.
Yeah.
So, if answer of current of j is equals to minus 1, so if answer is currently minus 1, so like v of I over j is equals to current distance plus 1, else answer of I over j is equals to minimum of answer of I over j comma the current distance. And then the rest of it is the v the answer and I plus 1 j c plus 1 minus I plus 1 minus 1 and I minus 1. Yeah. Mm. And like a backtracking step also to just avoid multiple this. So let me kind of try run the case if it will works, and if it need updation I will update it.
Yeah, sure. Take a small example and you can do it.
Right. So like let's take some easy one.
Like one thing I could say, use that you're updating answer with minimum, right? But see the value you have put in an answer.
Okay.
You're initializing answer with some value, right?
Like also, I'm also was checking like if answer is equals to -1, like if it is not, this
Okay,
will be
sorry. I missed that part. Okay. And then it would have worked. That was fine. Now go ahead with the driver.
okay. Let's take this case only, right? So I will be initially starting from if this particular point. I will be traversing. So I will make it visited, and if it is true and it's one, so answer of this will be 0. I will come down. I will go to left or right. Uh, First, will be take downwards. So I want this particular row currently, and again I will have just visited and okay. Visited also. So I'm this particular point. I will visit it. No, it's 0 basically. So I will be over here, and currently my C was 0 only. So I updated. Okay, so I don't think C plus 1 over here, only C, because I am already calling C plus 1 over here, and C will be 1. So, oh, sorry. The answer of I of j will be C. So at this particular point, my answer has gone been updated with 1. And definitely the next call was like, I will move down and for this particular also, and this will be 2. And the next will be like, uh, I will be going with j plus 1. So at this particular point, this will be updating it with 3. And again, at this point, we don't need it. So, and now it has been already visited, and I will go one row up. So it's coming with 4 for this particular row traversal. Right. Okay.
It's going to be recursive, right? So even if it's 4, it will get updated to 2 for that one.
Right. Right. So
And
if
then
I will,
when you start the iteration for the next one, then it may update again.
right. Right.
So it was
Actually.
like 1, 2, 3, 4, but when it goes, when it finishes its recursion, it goes to the initial one and then goes to the right, then bottom. So that's 2. It will update it with 2.
Right. 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 Because there's an adjacent one also, right? So this will be also 1, and this will be also.
Yeah,
So initial
yeah.
recursion will be making my answer currently
There's
like
4, but after the recursion ends, so it will become 1 after that.
right. So basically, I will be having this 2, and this will be also will 2, and this will be also will 3, and this also will 0. So, and the next moment, I will start from this particular 0, and I will already been updated like the answer is already not equals to -1. So I will check like C plus 1, it's minimum, right? So I will just update this particular point will 1, and definitely the recursive call will be moving in that way, and I will get a most optimal answer that can actually fall with the this particular code.
Yeah, sounds good. What will be the time and space complexity?
Right. So like I believe that for each updation, it will be kind of a n square into currently n basically, because for every node I am actually checking it once again. So I guess n square will be the time complexity basically.
Sure, because for DFS in a matrix, it's n square, and you're searching for 1. So suppose in the worst case, it's the entire matrix is 1. So for all the n square, you will do an n square operation
Uh,
because you have a for loop, right? When you're searching for 1 and
right, right,
recursively calling solve. Sorry, DFS. So that would make it an O n to the power 4, right?
So in that case, I guess because um, if it's one only,
That's the worst case. I'm just saying. You don't
yeah.
have to deal with it separately, and I'm not sure whether you can further optimize it. Is there any other solution that is there in your mind?
I believe that it can be also be done with the BFS call. Like one of the solution that I was thinking, like initially it struck my mind, but then I thought that DFS will be good. But like let's take this particular code only. So if I will just traverse from this particular point of point and all the levels will be generated,
Yes.
and then also if I will go from that top to bottom, and then I will go from bottom to top. So I believe that I will cover most of the cases that are that the one is actually present.
So it's like you will do a level order for all the ones simultaneously.
Initially, I will do the level order from the top to bottom, and then I will do level order from bottom to top. Like that, I was actually thinking because first I will cover these top cases, and I will find the minimum answer from all the cases, and then if I found the minimum answer from bottom to top, I will cover that particular case also. So,
Okay,
like
so
I
top
was
to
thinking,
bottom, and then again, sorry, top and bottom, then left, right, something like that, right?
yeah, top to bottom, and then bottom to top. The same.
Okay, so you move the diagonal. Sounds good. So, what's your favorite subject? CS based.
Like I have been done with course years in my third semester, and because it's been far because of some of the DS वगैरह was also there, but I'm good standing in DBMS, and I think that DBMS is kind of good with me.
So TBMS, right? So what is a transaction?
What is a transaction, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So transaction basically don't mean like we have to do in the request of the money or it. Transaction is basically changing of accounts that is actually happening between two servers or any two clients. So transaction means in a layman language, transaction basically means changing exchanging of something with respect to a particular asset that's actually happening. So with respect to the DBMS, I believe that transaction is basically when we are putting a server request on the system, so we are getting a fetching a data with respect to that, and that particular data might get updated with different clients that are actually connected with that particular server. So,
So
right.
there's something known as asset properties for transaction, or in general DBMS. So you know about the asset properties.
Yeah, asset property basically means, if I'm right, A belongs to atomicity and C belongs to consistency, isolation, and durability. Uh, so it's basically for a particular database to stay updated with its transactions, and it's moreover revolve on for a proper database that it needs to be prepared for a particular system.
Okay. So what's a database rollback?
Sorry.
Database rollback.
Database rollback basically means like if a transaction has already occurred and another transaction intersects that particular transaction. So in that case, if that particular scenario occurs, the database rollback will roll back all the transactions or all the actions that has been occurred on that particular database, and all the data that has been calculated logically will get drained also. So the calculation that had been done on the database will be removed and rolled back. So like it's a kind of like the previous state will be reimagined with that particular database.
Yeah. So the previous state is like, how do you achieve the previous state? There's a statement that helps it to do.
Like
Like how do you do some changes in the database?
no, I need to answer the how the rollback occurs. Like I need to answer that
No, no,
question.
no. How do you like? What's the state? What should I say? So you write a query. It does not make the changes yet. There is a statement that is used to make the changes permanent.
Make the changes permanent.
So if you use some editors or something, they inbuilt the statement normally. But if you are writing raw SQL, you need to add the statement to make changes. No issue if you don't know. That's
Like
built.
update kind of queries, like.
Now it's an SQL commit statement. So once you say
Okay.
commit, then your database transactions are made permanent. And if you
Oh,
do a rollback, it goes to the last commit state. So something very similar to GitHub as well.
right,
They use
right,
the same concept, committing, but the entire thing is different. But that's the entire thing about commits.
right.
Uh, okay, so what do you know about deadlock?
Like deadlock basically occur if many systems are actually trying to get a particular resource, and there are actually many conditions that actually happen that cause a deadlock. If I will just list them out as kind of a mutual exclusion that is actually happening, a circular wait is already happening on that particular system, hold and wait of resources that are actually happening, uh, and I guess these are the conditions if they occur at the same particular amount of time. So, like many of the system will actually cause a deadlock, and the system will be hang or in a go in a deadlock state. So,
Yeah. So how do you avoid a deadlock entirely?
for avoiding a deadlock, like we can use different kind of algorithms, and like basically a resource a renowned algorithm like Banker's algorithm we can use, and
Yeah.
definitely we can also use different principles also, like we can use semaphore, and we can use different kind of, I must say, like we can follow a particular pattern that needs to be followed to avoid deadlock. I like in that
Yeah.
way.
So like, what's a semaphore?
Okay. So semaphore is a kind of thing like it's more of a use when two or more systems that are actually using a particular single resource, and a semaphore is actually got synchronized with the changes that are actually happening with that particular code. uh, and it can also stop, or like there are many actions that can be performed with the help of the semaphore such that the changes that are actually happening will actually getting synchronized with the system that are connected with that particular thing. So like there are many semaphore like binary semaphore or counting semaphore. So with respect to that we can actually observe, and it's majorly used in different kind of threading operations also.
Okay. So like, what's the difference between a binary semaphore and a counting semaphore?
Like binary semaphore is more over revolved around like if we have to count, if we have two system only like zero or one only, but like
Yeah.
counting semaphore if I have more system like so it will be count will be increased with respect to the system that are actually fetching the correct resource.
Yeah. Do you have any idea which could be faster in normal? Suppose I have two different threads that I need to synchronize. So, like both of them will work. But
Right.
what do you think should I use? A counting semaphore or a binary semaphore?
Like if we have only two threads, or like if you
No,
are
just
asking
two. That's this question is specifically for two.
specifically for true, we can actually say we can use a binary only because we don't need to update the and perform any logical operation on a particular semaphore, and we will not need any auxiliary space, and we need not need a particular heap resource also. So I must say like binary semaphore will be more of a good, and we need just two threads are actually working because we will only will work on zero or one value only.
Yeah, that's actually correct.
Right.
And another thing is it's very easy to update a binary value directly. In a counting semaphore, you will just have a counter, suppose an integer counter. But in binary, you just have one bit that's get flipped.
Right. Right.
That's good. I don't have any further questions, so this will conclude it.
Okay.
I don't
So
need to share your screen now.
yeah.
Uh, so I'll just switch on my camera once. Hi,
Right.
I have your review. Oh, okay. You can look at it.
Okay.
So you want to see the solution of the coding question, how to approach it. Like you gave an O&4 solution. That's
Okay.
good start. Like I was trying to hint you towards BFS. I'll show you how to actually do the problem.
I believe that it was like a lead code question only. Like I have solved this kind of questions earlier.
Oh,
Uh,
recode का था. पता भी नहीं था, मैं तो ऐसे ही।
अच्छा, अच्छा. Like, I don't
So
remember specifically, but like DFS and BFS was kind of.
I was trying to make up BFS, DFS, BFS questions. So how you actually approach it is add all these positions to a queue. So once you have added, you will first take the queue. Initially, suppose you have a counter. So suppose you have a counter. Initially, it is 0. You first take the elements that are currently in the queue. So these one, this one, and this one. You add the value 0 to it because of the counter value.
Right.
And now your queue will contain all the neighbors. These. This will be contained twice. This will be contained twice. This will be once, and this will be once. And after you finish these three, after you have updated, you change your counter to 1. Now you check for this 2. So you get it. You will see the counter as 1. You will make the counter as 1. Same for here, here, and here. Now since we have added it twice, so this position will come again. You will check that this value is already marked, so you will stop your count iteration there. You won't add it to your BFS queue.
Yeah, because the minimum value is one only, right?
Yes. So initially, suppose it's infinity. You check it's not infinity, then you update the value. If it's infinity, means it's visited. So you don't need to do it.
Right.
So now it's done. Now you get this one, and you update your counter as 2. And when you come here, you just update it as 2, and this also. So these two will become 2. So
Okay.
it simply becomes an O(n) square solution now. It's just BFS over all the positions.
Like initially, you will get all the ones that are actually present, and after that,
Yeah.
you will get the adjacent elements. Like I didn't get that.
Every time I'll get the adjacent element. So
Right. Only
suppose
BFS only. Right.
when I'm here, I'll get this and this and this. I add all of them. But suppose for this element, I go and check my answer matrix and I see that there's already it's marked. So suppose initially all of them are infinity. See, I see it's marked with 0, so I won't continue. It means it's visited. But for this 2, it was initially marked as infinity. So I'll update its value to 2 now.
Okay. Right.
So, like you have an O(n) square to traverse and get all the ones and put it in a queue, and the BFS in a matrix, you will not make repetitions of the same elements that you have visited. So it will be another O(n) square solution.
Okay.
So, like if you are using DFS, then you have no other option but to do the entire thing again and again. So your solution works. That's why I was initially inclining you towards BFS, because with DFS you get a solution of n to the power 4. For every position, you need to do a O(n) square search. So it
Right.
becomes n square into n square. But here, although initially finding all these ones is n square, but it's not nested with each other. Like you find it and found all the ones, you add it into a queue, and then you start processing BFS of the queue.
Okay.
So you don't need to do it again and again. And with the initial updation issue you had, right? Like you were thinking, how will I update it? So that initially, that's was when I suggested start with 1, not with 0. Because with 0, you need to check top left, bottom right, everything.
Right.
But 1, it was just you need to check with levels where it's present. So
Right.
this is how you actually solved it. Like if you're going into the DFS, then this is your most optimized solution which you have. But if you're going with a BFS, you'll get your O(n) square solution.
Okay. Right.
That's not an issue actually. So I have some comments I mentioned there, if you can see.
Okay.
Like first of all, there's no need for summary in your resume. I think your resume had a summary, right? So there's no need to add that. Like I whatever I've discussed with other people, seniors, everything, they're like summary is not that much required.
Summary with
Means
respect to the projects, like you are saying.
no, no, not summary. Like you have a one line description on the
Okay. In
top,
the
right?
top headline, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right.
So that's not actually required. So one second. Which one? Okay. So I'll just share your resume once. Is it visible?
Yeah.
So this part, this is not required.
Okay.
So instead of this, what you should do is try adding them here. Like if you're putting it a lot on the bottom, like no one will actually see it.
Right.
So try putting it here. Like in my resume, I have it with my email and phone number.
Okay.
And also there's some comments. So uh, online presence instead of online presence instead of summary means like just change the positions and have your technical skills below the project. So it should be positions of responsibility, projects, then technical skills,
Okay.
and then achievements.
Sure.
And like coursework is not important. Like once they see it's computer science, they will know you have done all these courseworks.
Like I put it because like at the time of resume parsing, so they found some keywords like operating system, database management. So with respect to that, I have put that keywords also.
Okay, for suppose you need to submit your resume, you could use that. I'm not sure they actually do like that.
Like not particularly for on campus, but if off campus I apply, so
Yeah, off campus, yes, sometimes they have some weird rules. That's sometimes they have very weird rules, like they will search for open source keywords, so you
right, right.
can't cover everything. But I'm specifically saying for on campus. I'm not sure entirely off campus scenario. On campus, they like I don't have these in my resume at all because once they see this computer science, they will know that you have actually done these courses.
Okay.
So that's it for your resume. Everything was good, and yes, the projects like these don't look that much good, like link, GitHub repo, and everything.
Oh,
So I'll just show you 1 second how I did it. It's like you don't have to follow. It's like my suggestion. You can decide what's better for you. So I'll just show you my how I did it. So so if you see, I just have like project name and then my tech stack. Like you don't have to specifically mention tech stack. And all of these are like an hyperlink.
okay. Oh,
So don't need to have it separately. And this then looks a more structured form because if you see yours, okay, I think I closed it. So if you see in the issue with yours, is, first of all, these don't look that much good.
okay.
And secondly, tech stack, like don't write HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. Everyone uses that. And once you have written Node.js, no need to write JavaScript.
Okay. Right.
So you could just have Bootstrap, Express, Node.js, MongoDB, sockets. Like again, this Jitsi API. Like these are the things that I want to know. Something special, something new that you have used. Like I don't need to know you have used HTML, CSS. Like AS editor, these are good. Sockets, MongoDB. So these like again HTML, CSS. So instead of these two, just replace it with Bootstrap.
Okay. And to
And
change
these
the
all,
position also, right?
yeah, this would look better if you follow like here I've written like this structure. It looks better. I'm just saying.
Right.
Don't have to write text stack separately.
Okay.
And these links don't look good, and they you have a lot of white space here that you're wasting.
Oh, right.
So like you see, just covering this much, but you have wasted this much white space. So instead, you can just have a hyperlink as well. Like if you see mine, all of these are hyperlink. Most of them are hyperlink.
Right.
So you can open something.
And one more doubt, like, shall I present the particular code in the GitHub also, like, for this, like, place me is here? And shall I host the code in the GitHub and also put the GitHub link?
That would be better. I
Okay.
actually wanted to see the GitHub link, the code. So that would be better. Instead of like this, you can just host it on, put it on GitHub and just have a link there.
Okay.
So something, I'm not sure if this is hosted, but you can find it. Okay, like you can add a link here.
Right, right, right.
So you can do something like that. Like there's very rare possibility they actually open it. But these don't look good that you have wasted so much white space here.
Right.
And secondly, like, don't use so many sentences for it. Like, it should be a crux of what you're like. For Nivesh, you could just write a simulator to give real trading experience with virtual currency. That would be like give me an entire idea about the project.
Okay.
For the first one, you can something like online code editor with peer-to-peer video conversation and message chatting. So, like a one sentence, so approximately 10 to 20 words that give
Right.
you an entire idea about the project.
Okay.
Like if I suppose if I read this, I don't get it until I have to read the entire thing.
Right.
Like it, this one is easy because it's in the first line itself. Like this one took time with because with the increasing interest of students, it took a lot of time to read.
Okay.
And these are also words that are not required. So something like, what did you do? Some unique feature. What's the and that's it. You don't need to write with increasing interest of students in equity and share marketing. So with this, you could write online simulator virtual currency. And another thing is integrated with real-time trade data with minimum latency.
Okay. Right.
So something like if you see mine, you'll get what's the project in just one line, something unique, and then if there's some statistics that are there.
Okay.
So you don't need to write with these things.
Like one more thing, I thought that why should I actually escalate this, because I don't have any internship right as of now. So I thought that if I will escalate the projects in that way, so that the user or anyone who reads that, so he has
Yes,
a good sense that.
there's no
Sorry.
problem in increasing the number of lines. The issue is how you're feeding the data. Like these words, like no one would read them and just lose interest very quickly.
Okay. Right.
So there's no issue. Like if you want to have the entire thing, you can have it, but divide it into 4 points, 4 points. So it takes more space as well. That's the first thing, and it's very easy to read as well. Like once they see a three-line text, three sentences, they will mostly just leave it there only.
Okay. Right.
And these, I just said, just put it in the top instead of here. Like if you see mine, it's everything is just here.
Right.
So you don't need to have like a LinkedIn with your name and everything. Just hyperlink them here.
Okay.
That's about your resume. That was good. So the coding part, the main issue that I faced was you were not communicating with me at all. Like uh, what happened was you were saying something and it was up to you. Like I could not properly hear it. It's mostly like you're just thinking what to do. That normally when you code, you do that.
Okay.
Like this is not working. How do I do it? Like you need to tell the interviewer where you're stuck. What are you thinking right now? Everything. Like he is not judging you based on what you write on the what you're showing him or coding. You need to explain your thought process, entire thing, how you're approaching it. So
Okay.
like most of them are same thing. Initial thought process, speak loudly. You cannot be like, and also you cannot be silent. Like once you were stuck between, you were just like silent for 20-30 seconds.
Oh.
So like whatever you're thinking, like this is where I'm stuck. This problem, like my solution works for this, but I'm getting issue when this update is not happening. Something like that. So you
Okay.
need to explain whatever you're thinking. Like if it's a 1 hour interview, you need to speak for approximately 50-55 minutes. So in that case, the interviewer will be engaged with you.
Right.
So like even if you're stuck, there's no issue. Like even I'm stuck in my online assessment. I just interact with them. Like this is what I'm thinking. This is the challenge I'm facing, and they're more than ready to give you help, better hints than me. Like I'm this is like fifth or sixth interview I'm taking. They have more than 100 interview experience, so they are more than helpful there.
Okay.
And while coding, you have to explain more what you're doing. Like this step, what's this, and everything.
Oh.
Like even if you're writing mem set, like first of all, I know all this, so it's easy for me to grasp. But when someone with 10-20 years of experience, they rarely write code. They are just seniors. They are just mostly managers right now, so they are not interested into the coding part. So you have to tell them that like you don't have to explain what's mem set. You're just saying initializing my array as -1, and then write that stuff.
Okay.
So you have to explain what you're doing and everything. And sometimes you can also write comments. That's actually good
Right. Right.
to explain what you're doing.
Hmm.
And specify time complexity. Once you've given your approach, tell the time and space complexity.
Okay.
So that's actually good. So you can understand. So sometimes interview like this is not fully generic. Some interviewers come in mind that they want this time complexity solution, and they want you to write that solution. So you can ask them. You suppose you say my solution is O n squared. They want an O log n solution. So they will say you can come up with better. So you need to think like mostly they won't ask you to write brute force solutions or anything. They want the most optimized solution that you can come up with.
Okay. So because the duration of the interview is very less, so we should
Yeah.
directly jump to, because we should interact and we should tell that initial time complexity is there. I can optimize it also, right? So because the
Yes.
time can be reduced also.
Yeah, you can start with brute force. Like you have approximately 30 minutes to code. That's more than enough. You can start with a brute force. Like more important is the thought process. Even if you spend 20 minutes discussing with him, that's fine. Like coding, you can do it in 5 to 10 minutes. That's not an issue. And sometimes they are like, you don't need like in my D-Show interview, I did not have to write code for most of my coding questions. I was discussing my approach. I was explaining how I'll approach and do anything, and then I was just giving him the optimized solution, and he was fine with it. He was like, "Don't need to write."
Oh,
So another thing is you can solve this list. It's a very good list. It contains like a wide variety of approaches and problems that you can expect. Like whatever I've seen, like my friends or anything, most interview questions are based on these problems only. So this,
I also read your blog and you also mentioned in that also, right?
yeah. So this is actually like it has a high variety of questions.
Right.
Like on all of these are like different. So and like merge intervals, it's very famous.
Right. Right. Right.
Coin change, everything.
Hmm.
So most of the approaches you will find algorithms approaches rotate around these only. And for CS based, just you need to study and brush up more. So I have some resources that I've mentioned. Like it was more than enough for me for any interview.
Okay.
So I've like I think these are drive links. These are some PDFs that I had written. And for operating system, I just referred these two. And these are more than enough for interviews. You won't get any new questions.
Right.
Most of them are revolving around this only, like multi-threading, scheduling. You can just go through these, and that's more than enough. Like I've given 7 interviews, like 7 companies. So suppose 15 interviews, and I've been able to answer most of the CS-based questions. Like I just studied these. These is the entire thing that I referred. This one, and this from Geeks for Geeks,
Right.
and I have some notes that I had, so you can study. This was also more than enough for DBMS.
Oh,
So that's it. So mainly, I'll just say you should focus on this part. Like you have to speak loudly what you're thinking, like communicating with the interview.
okay.
So that would be more than enough. And maybe the CS based you need to practice more,
Right.
because since you're from computer science only, they will not leave that part. Like sometimes if it's EC or ECM, they come for interviews. They sometimes either ask very easy questions or just leave that topic because they know
Okay.
it's not from the coursework. But once they read that you are from computer science, they will ask you those questions.
Oh,
So you need to be well prepared. Like, even with deadlocks, you knew the 4 conditions that were there. But what those 4 conditions meant with examples and everything, that you need to know.
oh,
Like whatever the resources I've given, like if you know those in depth, that's more than enough. It will hardly take you just like 4 5 hours to finish the entire CS part. Like you don't need to give 1 or 2 days or anything. Like 4 5 hours is more than enough.
right.
So that's it. You have any questions?
सो लाइक अभी भैया अभी स्लॉट वन इंटर्नशिप वगैरह सब हुआ था अभी अभी
हाँ,
लास्ट मंथ ही हुआ था। तो उसमें भी अभी मतलब एमएस में भी अभी डीएफएस का क्वेश्चन पूछा था उन लोगों ने। तो मतलब मैंने गलती से पता नहीं क्या हुआ कि मेरे को टाइम ज़्यादा लग गया उस केस में। सो मेरे को ये लग रहा है कि मेरे ऑनलाइन राउंड्स में थोड़ा काम खराब हो रहा है। लाइक आई हैव प्रिपेयर इनफ वेल, आई हैव डन सम क्वेश्चन ऑन लीड कोड एंड डीएफजी
हाँ,
आल्सो। अभी मोटॉक का मेरा निकल गया था ऑनलाइन राउंड, टॉप 18 में आ गया था। मतलब उसके बाद फिर उनका कुछ एप्लीकेशन इंजीनियरिंग इंटर्न था। तो उन्होंने फिर किसी को नहीं लिया क्योंकि वो बहुत स्पेसिफिक चीज़ देख रहे थे। वो फिर किसी को नहीं लिया उन्होंने, मतलब उस केस में।
ओह! लिया नहीं?
नहीं लिया,
अच्छा,
लिया ही नहीं फिर किसी, मतलब 18 को सिलेक्ट करा था, फिर उसमें लिया नहीं उस पर्टिकुलर फील्ड के लिए। सो
अच्छा
मतलब
अलग-अलग फ़ील्ड था।
हाँ, तो
अच्छा,
मतलब मेरा अभी ऑनलाइन थोड़ा, मतलब ऑनलाइन कोडिंग टेस्ट के लिए थोड़ा मतलब गाइडेंस चाहिए मेरे को अभी इसमें थोड़ा। मतलब मैं वर्चुअल
हाँ,
कॉन्टेस्ट भी देने लग गया था, पर मतलब लग रहा है कि मतलब क्योंकि बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन थे, जैसे आपको भी पता ही होगा, मतलब अब इतने
हाँ,
सारे
वो तो
क्वेश्चन में थे क्या आ जाए उस समय अब। और तुमको करना भी लेस टाइम में क्योंकि कंपटीशन इतना ज़्यादा है ही।
एक काम कर सकता है, देख 2 हो सकता है। एक तो तू क्वेश्चन नहीं कर सकता तो उसके लिए प्रैक्टिस चाहिए और कुछ नहीं। बट अगर ऐसा है कि तू क्वेश्चन थोड़ा और टाइम मिलता है तो कर सकता है,
हाँ
कौन
वही
सा
हो
है
रहा
तेरा?
है, वही हो रहा है,
टाइम
सेकंड वाला।
तो एक काम कर सकता है, बाइनरी सर्च जो कुछ दिखाता है।
बाइनरी सर्च डॉट कॉम।
हाँ, वो यूज़ कर सकता है। वो मैंने बहुत किया है।
अच्छा।
तो ये यूज़ कर सकता है। और कॉम्पिटिशन्स थे इसमें, लाइक मेन होता है कि जो कंपनीज़ आते हैं उन लोग को टॉप 30 लेना है स्टूडेंट्स।
हाँ।
तो ऐसा नहीं कि टॉप 30 तुझे सारे क्वेश्चंस करने हैं। तुझे टॉप 30 में आना है। ऐसा हो सकता है तू पहला क्वेश्चन नहीं कर, तू पहला क्वेश्चन छोड़ना पड़ा, सब हो सकता है सबसे ईज़ी है। नेक्स्ट 3 क्वेश्चंस करने से हो जाएगा। तो
हम्म।
वो एक कॉन्टेस्ट थिंकिंग से आता है। तो वो तुझे कॉन्टेस्ट देने से होगा। तो यहाँ पे कर सकते सोच, ईज़ी, मीडियम, हार्ड। तो यहाँ पे 1 आवर 10 मिनट्स मिलता है, 4 क्वेश्चंस।
अच्छा।
तो ऐसे तो कंटिन्यूअसली कर सकता है। पूरा टाइमर होता है, सब कुछ।
ओके।
और ये लीड कोड क्वेश्चंस बेस्ड ही है मोस्टली। तो कुछ-कुछ होगा, हो सकता है कॉमन है, कुछ-कुछ नया है। नहीं, बाइनरी सर्च थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है लीड कोड से, बट उतना नहीं, ऑलमोस्ट सेम है दोनों। तो तू यहाँ पे कर सकता है प्रैक्टिस, लाइक कंटिन्यूअसली करने से। मेन है कि स्पीड लाना कोडिंग में।
राइट।
जैसे तू जब लिख रहा था, तू सोच मुझे नम्स को ट्रैवर्स करना है, तो कुछ-कुछ तू ऐसे लिखेगा ना,
हम्म।
लाइक ठीक है, ये फास्ट है, बट इससे भी फास्टर वे है।
आइटरेटर यूज कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, तो ये कुछ-कुछ चीज़ें फास्टली हो जा सीखना पड़ेगा। जैसे तू अगर कभी भी लीड कोड क्वेश्चन करेगा, लीड कोड का डिस्कशन में जाके देखना उन लोग ने कैसे किया।
हम्म।
लाइक पहले भी मैं ऐसे ही लिखता था। मैंने जब बाइनरी से स्टार्ट किया था, मैंने कभी कॉम्पिटिशन खत्म नहीं कर पाता था। ये 1 आवर 8 मिनट्स में जो हो रहा है, मुझे हमेशा पूरा लग जाता था करने में 4 क्वेश्चंस। कभी-कभी होता भी नहीं था। बट अभी जो प्लेस में हूँ, मैं 20 मिनट्स में पूरा कॉम्पिटिशन खत्म कर सकता हूँ।
अच्छा।
तो मेरा हर इंटरव्यू मेरे, वैसे जेपी मॉर्गन का इंटरव्यू दिया था, 1 घंटे का था, 5 मिनट में हो गया था।
ओ।
तो वो कॉन्टेस्ट देने से ही हो जाएगा मोस्टली। तो ये कॉन्टेस्ट कंटिन्यूअसली कर सकता है। और अगर नहीं हो रहा है, यहाँ पे गिव अप क्वेश्चन का भी ऑप्शन है। हो जाने के बाद तो देख भी सकता है दूसरों ने कैसे सोल्यूशन, सब कुछ होता है। और जैसे रोलिंग मीडियन, ये तो डायरेक्टली उसका क्वेश्चन है, लीड कोड का, सिर्फ नाम चेंज करके दे देता है।
हम्म।
तो ये कर सकता है। नहीं तो लीड कोड कॉन्टेस्ट भी है, बट वो बहुत कम होता है।
हाँ, कॉन्टेस्ट में तो लीड कोड पे देते रहता हूँ तो अभी
हाँ, बट वो बहुत कम होता है, हफ्ते में एक बार। लाइक
हफ्ते
वो
में दो।
ठीक है वो।
हाँ।
हाँ, 2 हफ्ते में एक बार, 1 हफ्ते में एक बार, वो होता है, दोनों
राइट।
ही है।
इसके
लाइक
वर्चुअल वर्चुअल भी होते हैं, वर्चुअल भी दिए मैंने बहुत सारे।
वर्चुअल में टाइमर, हाँ वो भी सही है, वर्चुअल भी दे सकता है। दोनों ही सही है।
और बाइनरी सर्च पे ज़्यादा सही लग रहा है। चलो।
क्योंकि इसमें लाइक मोर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड है, क्वेश्चंस ऐसे बार-बार कर सकता है। बट हाँ, कॉन्टेस्ट भी दे सकता है, ये वाला है।
राइट।
लाइक सिर्फ ये दोनों मत थे, क्योंकि ये दोनों लाइक हफ्ते में एक बार होता है, कंटिन्यूअसली देते रहे। लाइक बाइनरी सर्च पे दे या लीड कोड का वर्चुअल कॉन्टेस्ट है, दोनों ही ठीक है।
राइट।
तो क्योंकि अगर टाइम का प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है तो तुझे मोर कॉन्टेस्ट देना पड़ेगा तुझे। लाइक यहाँ पे देखना, तुझे 4 क्वेश्चंस करने में सिर्फ 1 आवर और 10 मिनट्स मिलता है। एक इजी, 2 मीडियम, एक हार्ड। और लीड कोड में वो 1 आवर 30 मिनट्स देता है।
हाँ।
और इससे कभी-कभी रिविजन भी हो जाता है, अगर तू यहाँ पे टारगेटेड प्रैक्टिस भी कर सकता है। सोच मुझे माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का प्रैक्टिस है, तो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट को सिलेक्ट कर सकता है।
अच्छा, राइट।
तो उतनी कंपनीज नहीं है, टॉपिक्स भी कर सकता है। तो अगर तुझे सिर्फ डायनेमिक प्रोग्रामिंग प्रैक्टिस है, तो डायनेमिक प्रोग्रामिंग कर सकता है सिर्फ। तो अभी अगर हर क्वेश्चन आ रहा है तो डायनेमिक प्रोग्रामिंग करेगा।
ओके।
तो तू ये भी कर सकता है। तो अगर
और
टाइम का प्रॉब्लम है तो कॉन्टेस्ट सीधे।
और ऐसे मतलब बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन हैं, तो अब जैसे आपने कहा कि वो ब्लाइंड 75 वो काफी एक मतलब स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चंस की है, उसी के टाइप से सारे क्वेश्चंस होते हैं। तो मतलब पर अगर कोई नया क्वेश्चन आ गया तो थोड़ा टाइम तो लगता ही है, तो उस केस में
वो
कैसे मतलब?
कॉन्टेस्ट से होगा ना, ये देख कॉन्टेस्ट में मोस्टली सब नए क्वेश्चंस ही होंगे।
हाँ, तो है।
लाइक मैंने 900 क्वेश्चंस किए, मैंने कभी ये क्वेश्चन सुना भी नहीं रॉट कटे। जैसे एलसीएस ऑब्वियसली किया है,
हम्म।
बट ये नहीं किया है, तो वही तुझे जल्दी इसको भी सोचना पड़ेगा। तो वो मेनली कॉन्टेस्ट देने से आ जाएगा। बट अगर मैं सेम क्वेश्चन सोच में लॉन्गेस्ट कंसेक्यूटिव सीक्वेंस कर रहा हूँ, तब सीक्वेंस कर रहा हूँ लीड कोड पे, तो टाइम लगेगा मुझे। मैं ऐसे सोचूंगा, 1 घंटा सोचूंगा, सिर्फ कॉपी में करूंगा, फिर करूंगा। बट जब एक कॉन्टेस्ट का माइंडसेट तैयार होता है ना, तो बहुत जल्दी कर सकता है क्वेश्चंस। तो अगर मैं सिर्फ सोच रहा हूँ कि मुझे कॉन्टेस्ट के लिए करना, लाइक, तो मैं बहुत जल्दी कर सकता हूँ। लाइक ब्रूट फोर्स मैं डायरेक्टली ऑप्टिमाइज पे जाना चाहूंगा। ब्रूट फोर्स से ऑप्टिमाइज बहुत टाइम लग जाएगा तुझे।
हाँ,
तो मैं डायरेक्टली ऑप्टिमाइज पे जाना चाहूंगा।
राइट।
तो वैसे होता है, लाइक जितना कंपटीशन देगा, कॉन्टेस्ट देगा, उतना तुझे इजी होगा।
ओके।
और
और
बाई से
हाँ, और जैसे एक और था कि मतलब अभी जैसे ऑन कैंपस तो मतलब अभी स्लॉट 1 जैसे निकल गया इंटर्नशिप का, तो अभी उसके बाद थोड़ी बहुत कंपनीज और आएंगी। और मतलब अगर वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो में अगर इंटर्नशिप नहीं हो रही है तो कितना इफेक्ट पड़ेगा मतलब प्लेसमेंट्स पे आगे जाके?
देख, लास्ट में मेन है प्लेसमेंट्स,
राइट।
राइट। देख, इंटर्नशिप तो तू कहीं से भी कर सकता है। ऑफ कैंपस भी इंटर्नशिप बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी होता है।
हाँ,
बट तेरा अगर मेन गोल प्लेसमेंट ही है, या मास्टर्स है कि प्लेसमेंट है,
प्लेसमेंट्स ही होते हैं फिलहाल।
लाइक तू मेरा सोचेगा, मैं लास्ट ईयर माइक्रोसॉफ्ट डीशा दोनों से रिजेक्टेड था, और हम लोग के टाइम पे इतने कंपनीज आते भी नहीं थे। इस बार आई गेस ज्यादा आएंगे मोस्टली,
हम्म।
और ज्यादा लेंगे भी। तो पहली बात, अभी भी बहुत कंपनीज आएंगे, अच्छे खासे कंपनीज आते हैं, और टॉप कंपनीज भी आएंगे। सिर्फ स्लॉट 1 लाइक वो सिर्फ नाम के लिए है, पता नहीं क्यों करते हैं, वीआईटी है।
हाँ।
तो वो कुछ नहीं है, वो कंपनी आएंगे। बट अगर तेरा मेन गोल है प्लेसमेंट, तो वो अभी 1 साल दूर है। 1 साल नहीं, लाइक 10 महीने है, और वो बहुत टाइम है। मैंने खुद का प्लेसमेंट प्रिपरेशन फरवरी से स्टार्ट किया था, और
हम्म।
ऐसा नहीं कि मैं पूरा टाइम लैपटॉप के पास था। मैं मूवीज देखता था, मैं सिर्फ आई गेस 2 से 3 घंटे हर दिन करता था। बट मेन चीज है, मैं हर दिन करता था। राइट।
कंसिस्टेंसी।
हाँ, वो मेन है। एक सवाल बस शेयर ही करके रखना चाहिए। तो अगर मैं अपना लीड कोड प्रोफाइल दिखाऊं, मैंने जब फरवरी 12 से स्टार्ट किया, मैंने हर दिन कंटिन्यूसली किया, मैंने एक दिन भी गैप नहीं दिया। मैंने अगस्त 4 को छोड़ दिया, बट कंसिस्टेंटली हर दिन किया। इवन अगर दिन में 1 क्वेश्चन, 2 क्वेश्चन, 6 कुछ कर रहा हूँ, बट किया है बैठ के। ये मेन है, तू एटलीस्ट हर दिन करने का एक एफर्ट आएगा। लाइक तू अगर मुझे फरवरी 12 को कुछ इजी भी क्वेश्चन देता, मैं कर नहीं पाता। मुझे मैंने इस पहला कंपटीशन जब दिया था बाइनरी सर्च में, मुझे याद है मैंने 2 क्वेश्चंस किया था पूरे टाइम में,
अच्छा।
और 6 महीने बाद मैं 4 क्वेश्चंस, लाइक 4 क्वेश्चन अगर तू चारों हार्ड कर देगा, 20 to 30 मिनट्स में खत्म कर सकता हूँ। तो वो मेनली प्रैक्टिस है, और कुछ कुछ उसे कम्युनिकेट भी करना होगा इंटरव्यू से, सब कुछ।
राइट।
तो वो मेन है, लाइक बट मेन है कंसिस्टेंसी। लाइक फेब्रुअरी टू, लाइक मेरा फैट था, कैट था, सब था, बट उसके भी बीच में मैंने कुछ कुछ क्वेश्चंस किया। लाइक ये 6-7 जून आई गेस उस टाइम कुछ था, मैं नहीं कर पाते, लग भी रहा है एक वीक ऑलमोस्ट मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, बट एटलीस्ट हर दिन 1 घंटा देता था ऐसा। कुछ-कुछ दिन ज़्यादा हो जाता है। स्पेशली कुछ माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से पहले सबसे ज़्यादा उस दिन ही दिया था आई गेस। था वो टाइम। ओह नहीं, वो लास्ट ईयर था। माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से पहले 80 क्वेश्चंस किया था।
सही। और भैया
तो
जैसे एक और डाउट है, जैसे अभी अभी आगे दूसरी कंपनीज भी आएंगी, जैसे अभी वीजा आएगी, फिडिलिटी कह रहे थे कि आएगा। और फिर अगर ऐसे फिडिलिटी में बैठा हो तो अगर मगर मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है कि अगर मान लो फिडिलिटी में बैठ गया और उसमें हो गया तो फिर आगे मिस कर दूंगा चांसेस, अगर
वो
कोई
तो
आएगी।
रहता है।
तो मतलब लाइक फिडिलिटी में रैंक मतलब क्योंकि वो फाइनल ईयर में भी आएगी, मतलब प्लेसमेंट के टाइम पे भी आएगी, ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब अभी आ गई तो नहीं आएगी। तो अगर मान लो कि
हाँ,
अभी फिडिलिटी मैंने स्किप कर दिया और आगे मतलब जो वीजा वेल्स फार्गो या फिर जो भी वीआईटी में अभी ऑन कैंपस करेंटली आ गई, तो
हुँ।
ऐसे मतलब ये अभी की प्रिपरेशन के हिसाब से और अगर 2 महीने और अच्छी तरह करा तो लाइक अगर स्किपिंग करना सही रहेगा कि मतलब ये मेरे को थोड़ा डाउट हो रहा है।
देख मेन है कि ये इंटर्नशिप है तो वो नहीं है, बट अगर तू सोचेगा, प्रॉब्लम है कि बहुत कंपनीज पीपीओ दे देते हैं।
हाँ वही।
अब वीआईटी का रूल है कि पीपीओ मिलने के बाद तू बैठ नहीं सकता स्लॉट वन छोड़ के। अब
थॉट
मुझे
में।
पता भी नहीं स्लॉट वन रखेगा कि नहीं इस साल के बाद।
अच्छा।
लोग 5-6 ऑफर्स लेके रख देते हैं, वो
वही।
पता नहीं। तो वो मेन है कि लाइक मैं सिर्फ स्लॉट वन ही बैठ सकता था क्योंकि मेरे पास ऑलरेडी जेपी मॉर्गन का ऑफर था और आरबीएस का पीपीओ था।
राइट।
तो वो लाइक मैंने मुझे वो मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस था कि मैं कर पाऊंगा। जब मैंने लास्ट ईयर आरबीएस नेटफेस्ट पे आरबीएस के लिए बैठा था, मैं कॉन्फिडेंस था मैं नेक्स्ट टाइम, मुझे लाइक पता था कि स्लॉट वन लाइक बोलते नहीं थे, बट पहले 5-6 कंपनी में बैठने देते थे, टॉप कंपनीज जो आते थे उस टाइम पे।
अच्छा।
तो वहां पे मैंने सोचा था कि मैं आराम से कर पाऊंगा, तो इसलिए मैं था। अब वो तेरे ऊपर है, तू करना चाहता है कि नहीं। लाइक इंटर्नशिप का मेन नहीं है वीसा का इंटर्नशिप या कुछ, मेन है कि अगर तुझे पीपीओ मिल गया तो तू इसके बाद प्लेसमेंट में नहीं बैठ पाएगा। तो सोच मुझे स्लॉट वन नहीं मिलता तो मैं जो भी वॉलमार्ट वेल्स फार्गो जो भी आया था मैं बैठ नहीं पाता क्योंकि मेरे पास ऑलरेडी 2 ऑफर्स थे।
राइट। पर वो आपके मतलब सुपर ड्रीम्स से तो आपको इतनी टेंशन भी नहीं थी ना, मतलब कि लाइक यू वर नॉट लूजिंग इट, यू आर मतलब।
पे डिफरेंस बहुत है, जो नेटवर्क ग्रुप का 10.5 है।
अच्छा।
तो वो है, तुझे फिडेलिटी का श्योर नहीं हो।
फिडिलिटी लाइक 9 दिखाया था इन्होंने पीपीटी में।
हाँ फिर 9 होगा, बट आई गेस वो सुपर ड्रीम था।
5+5 5.5 बेस था और 3.5 एचआरए बता रहे थे, तो कह रहे थे कि 9 हो जाएगा।
हाँ बट एचआरए तो मिलता नहीं है। मैं श्योर नहीं हूँ फिडेलिटी का एग्जैक्टली क्या है ये वाला। सो 12 पे दे रहे हैं तो ये सुपर ड्रीम ऑफर होगा। तो
वही।
सोच पीपीओ का। हाँ, तो इतने लोगों को पीपीओ देता है। So, ये देख ये होगा ओनली एलिजिबल फॉर स्लॉट वन।
वही।
तो ये रिस्क तुझे, तेरा डिसीजन है तुझे ये लेना है कि नहीं।
ओके। लाइक मैं सोच रहा था कि चलो अभी जैसे
क्योंकि स्लॉट वन के बाद भी अच्छे कंपनीज आते हैं 20-25 एलपीए लेके।
राइट, अभी जैसे वीजा भी आएगी प्लेसमेंट के टाइम पे, वॉलमार्ट हो
हाँ
गया।
वीसा भी आता है, तो सभी आता है। तो ये तेरा डिसीजन, तुझे अगर फिडेलिटी में बैठना है या तो स्किप भी कर सकता है। वो तेरा कॉन्फिडेंस है सब कुछ के ऊपर है। तो वो लाइक तू क्या सही सही यहाँ पे एक चीज दिखा सकता हूँ, इतने लोगों को पीपीओ भी दिया तो आई गेस ये सबको ही पीपीओ देता है। तो कुछ कुछ कंपनी होता है सबको ही पीपीओ देता है, तो तेरे पास ऑप्शन नहीं है। बट तू अभी भी देखेगा, सोच इसका 12.93 है तो ये नहीं। तो अभी भी सोच, ये खोलूंगा इसका भी ऑलमोस्ट सेम ही होगा, 21 लाख
21
है।
है।
तो अभी भी आ रहा है, बट अगर तूने फिडेलिटी का ऑफर ले लिया तो और नहीं मिलेगा ये।
वही।
तो ये फुल्ली तेरा डिसीजन, तुझे क्या करना है। क्योंकि मैं इतना पूछ रहा हूँ इसके बाद भी अच्छे कंपनीज आते हैं और प्लेसमेंट में खत्म नहीं हो रहा ना, सॉरी इंटर्नशिप खत्म नहीं हो रहा ना, तेरा मेन काम है प्लेसमेंट।
हम्म।
लाइक तुझे अच्छा प्लेसमेंट चाहिए, वही तेरा मेन गोल है।
सो लाइक अगर मैंने ऑफ कैंपस भी कर ली कहीं से तो,
ऑफ
और
कैंपस तो
रेज्यूमे
और
पे
भी
डाल
बेटर
दिया।
है।
रेज्यूमे पे
हाँ,
डाल दिया जैसे, तो लाइक प्लेसमेंट के टाइम में पार्शियलिटी मतलब ऐसा तो नहीं होता ना कि
नहीं,
सीजीपीए के बेस पे पहले शॉर्टलिस्ट हो जाता है रेज्यूमे?
पहले तेरा सीजीपीए तो बहुत हाई है, तो पहले सीजीपीए बेस्ड होगा
राइट।
शॉर्टलिस्टिंग, फिर ऑनलाइन असेसमेंट। मोस्टली सीजीपीए बेस्ड ही होता है। इस बार पता नहीं, एक बार सुना है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने कुछ किया है ओपन
वो
सोर्स का।
ओपन सोर्स और वो कोडशेफ सारे प्रोफाइल्स वगैरह मंगाए थे उन्होंने।
वो पता है, वो करते नहीं है, बहुत रेयर है वो।
हाँ।
बट नॉर्मली वो नहीं होता, नॉर्मली सीजीपीए बेस्ड शॉर्टलिस्ट नहीं होता वीआईटी से।
राइट।
और फिर तेरा प्रिपरेशन कैसा है? तो ऐसा नहीं कि तुझे पूरा टाइम प्लेसमेंट्स का ही करना है। मैं इंटर्नशिप चल रहा था उस टाइम में, वो फुटबॉल सब कुछ दिखता था, बट मेन है कंसिस्टेंटली करना।
ओके।
नहीं है और कुछ है?
ठीक है भैया, अभी तक तो यही था।
कुछ होगा मैसेज कर देना।
श्योर श्योर। चलो, आपको भी फिर ऑल द बेस्ट। काफी आपने तो कर ही लिया है अभी। फिर अभी क्या, अभी शायद जनवरी में होगी ज्वाइनिंग अभी, राइट?
हाँ, जनवरी से इंटर्नशिप स्टार्ट है।
अच्छा अच्छा, सही है।
तो वीआईटी ऐड भी देता है। आज फर्स्ट ईयर मैसेज कर रहे हैं कि ओरिएंटेशन के टाइम मेरा पिक्चर दिखा रहे थे, बोल रहे थे इतना अच्छा प्लेसमेंट होता है।
अच्छा अच्छा। राइट,
पता नहीं।
सही है। चलो।
ठीक है, ऑल द बेस्ट तुझे जो भी कंपनी जा रहा है। लाइक
ठीक
सोच,
है।
एक चीज बोल सकता हूँ, मैंने देखा है कुछ कुछ। लाइक एक अच्छा स्टूडेंट था जिसने इंटर्नशिप किया था आईबीएस में, बट उसको स्लॉट वन नहीं मिला, तो वो वहीं पे रुक गया। बट वो ऐसा था कि अभी तक जो भी कंपनी चाहता उससे उससे बेटर मिल ही जाता। तो वो डिसीजन तुझे ठीक से लेना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि तू ऑफर रिजेक्ट नहीं कर सकता। हाँ, कुछ कुछ होता है मैनेजर को डायरेक्टली बोल देते हैं, बट वो भी रिस्क रहता है, मैनेजर वीआईटी को कंप्लेन कर देंगे।
राइट, और वो ब्लैक लिस्ट होने का चांस रहता
हाँ, तो मेन चीज है प्लेसमेंट्स पे फोकस करना, इंटर्नशिप पे नहीं अभी।
है। ओके।
तो क्योंकि तू जो आज डिसीजन लेगा वो तेरा प्लेसमेंट्स को भी अफेक्ट कर सकता है। यही है मेरी तरफ से, और फिर तेरा डिसीजन।
चलो देख, चलो। मेरा कोई लाइक डिस्कॉर्ड के थ्रू मैसेज करूँगी, या फिर आप कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर दे दो तो सही रहेगा।
रेज्यूमे से मिल जाता, बट ठीक है, लिख देता हूँ चैट में।
अच्छा। हाँ, लिख दो। ठीक है।
ठीक है, और ये भी लिंक रख लेना, बाद में अगर काम आएगा तो।
नोट पैड का, राइट?
हाँ, जिसमें इम्प्रूव करना है।
श्योर श्योर।
तो रेज्यूमे अगर तुझे रिव्यू करवाना है वो भी करवा सकता है, भेज देना मुझे
हाँ सही।
पर्सनली या ग्रुप कहीं पे भी।
ठीक।
ठीक
ठीक।
है।
थैंक यू भैया फॉर योर टाइम। थैंक यू।
अरे ठीक है, मैं तो ऐसे ही बेकार बैठा हूँ, कुछ काम नहीं है।
अच्छा। ठीक है। बाय।
ऑल द बेस्ट, बाय।
थैंक यू। मजा आई।